So once again, good afternoon. Hope all of you all are well. We are almost towards the end of our UB Research Essential Series 2. This is our 8th session for this fall semester, which began on September the 4th with our first session. So today's session is focused on producing highly visible and impactful research. So today's session, I will facilitate the session. We have one more session before we complete the UB Research Essential Series 2, which is going to happen on the 11th of December, making sense of research metrics. So as I've said before, all these sessions are recorded. If you have happened to miss any of this session and you want a recording of the sessions or the materials from the session, please do not hesitate to contact us. We are trying to currently make all this recording available in the UB website so that faculty is able to download any of these sessions that they've missed out. All right, so let's begin our session today. So I hope you are able to see my screen. So today's session is to look at another important aspect of research. How do you produce highly visible and impactful research? Okay, we have done a lot of things about research over the past few weeks. And today we're going to look at how to make it impactful and how to ensure that it is visible. So research is key in the life of all academics. So yesterday night, in fact, I spoke remotely in another forum in the Philippines on the nexus of teaching, research, and service, which also include extension work. So where the focus should actually be on relevance, capacity, and impact. That was the focus of my presentation. How do you make your research relevant and you have the capacity and it is impactful? So when you produce research, this is very key. So producing highly visible and impactful research should be the mantra for all researchers who want to be successful scholars. So this session today will address some of the fundamentals and tips to succeed in producing impactful research that is visible. Normally, early career researchers and faculty are well aware academia is a competitive field. So these days, if you see the early career researchers, they face a lot of challenges as they look to build their publication record, reputation, and careers as far as a scholar is concerned. There's a lot of expectation. It may be uncomfortable at first, but learning how to self-promote can help you build your brand and open up a new world of opportunities, even if you decide to go outside of the academia. So what you can do to make you and your work more impactful and visible. So this is what we are basically going to look at today. So we're going to look at the impact of research, the visibility of research, how publication can create impact and visibility. What are the steps to improve your own visibility and impact? And then we look at one study that looked at how they handle the personal pressure and institutional pressure in trying to manage the capacity of their research. So what is visible and impactful research? So if you look at these two important definitions here, visible basically means whatever that's tangible that can be seen, okay? Perceptible to the eye. Right? Anything can be seen and touched by the eye. So being constantly or frequently in the public view, conspicuous. So this is visible. So when you do something, as far as research is concerned, if this is all not possible, then although your research is impactful, it is going to be useless because no one can get access to it, or no one is even aware that there's such a thing, there's such a research that has taken place. So the effect of research has beyond academia. That is what impactful means. Impactful doesn't mean that I publish into a journal and then I'm happy about it. No, it has to go beyond that. You want to produce a marked impression of your work. So that is as important. So what is impactful research? So let's look at the first part of the discussion today, impactful research. Impactful research makes substantial contribution to the field. not just within the academia. A good research may not necessarily be impactful, but an impactful research naturally originates from a good research. As outlined in the table you see on the screen, a good research, okay, a good research may lack novelty, may be obsolete, may have no meaningful contribution, may be just replicating previous work, and may not be up to date with the field. But it's still a good research. They have followed a certain methodology, but it may not be impactful. Whereas an impactful research will follow the research process perfectly, will address an original problem. There's novelty in the findings. There's a significant value in the work that is carried out, and it addresses some research and knowledge gap that needs to be filled. So that is something that is impactful. So good journals most likely will only publish impactful research, as these journals aim to increase their own impact factor of the journal. That is all. Their aim is just they want to increase their impact factor. But as researchers and scholars, your aim should be more than that. The research impact is more important than the impact factor of the journal. Of course, is good to publish in good impact factor journal, but what is more important is what is the impact of your research to the society. So publishing is critical to share the knowledge and contribute to the knowledge body, but the research must be meaningful. Impactful and meaningful research addresses a real world problem and contribute to the literature or knowledge. Okay, so this will follow uh, will follow and critical approach in evaluating the literature. So if it's able to follow what's happening in the literature, so if you see most of the good research, they understand what is the literature all about before they carry out a particular research. Why? Because it's important to be up to date with the real world. So you don't want to do a research that is going to be obsolete before you even complete the research. So promoting collaboration will make your research meaningful and the knowledge widespread. So that is why it's critical to have good collaborators working with you. Meaningful research is persistent when it comes to important topic of interest. Because if your field of specialization is in one particular area, then the tendency is for you to deep dive into that particular study, and you will go deep into the project. So, so research impact is about looking at the effects a piece of research has had. There are many different ways your research could have an impact depending on the nature of the work. Some key terms and areas of impacts include what you see on the screen here. Academic impact, the impact the research makes in academia. For example, advancing and developing understanding methods and theory within the field of or across disciplines. So this is as far as academia is concerned. And then there is also the cultural or societal impact, the impact that the research can have on people, on culture and society. And then there's policy implication as well, the impact of research on policy formulation. For example, you're using research as evidence to influence policy decision, evidence-based policy, policy-based evidence. You've heard all this before. So research can be an important aspect of contributing towards a particular policy. And then you also have the economic impact, impacting businesses and economic growth or development. Then environmental, impacting the environment. Health, as what you see now, development of new drugs or vaccines to change the medical practice or to solve a particular epidemic or pandemic, as what you see now. There's a lot of new vaccines coming out after almost a year of the challenge that we've been going through. So it is part and parcel of impactful research. So different organizations and funders are interested in different areas of impact, bringing together one or many of these and possibly others as being an impactful research. So determine which area of impact are important to you, to your institution, or even the funding body before you decide to start working on particular research. So there are a lot of do's and don'ts when you talk about research impact. If you look at the do's here, do understand and use the real problem as a beacon. Okay, when you start working on a research, always remember the problem statement, the gaps in the existing knowledge is critical, what you are trying to solve. Be open to opportunities. That is why it is good to have a wide collaborators, because you can get information and coming from different groups of people. Collaboration becomes important, adaptation becomes important. You can learn from someone and adapt a certain methodology to suit you and make changes accordingly. Be generous in the way how you contribute back to the knowledge body. There's a lot of application out there where you can actually share this information, which I will discuss with you later when we talk about visibility. Approach problems with integrity. Okay, always be truthful, making sure that your information is correct, making sure that whatever that is being researched is done in a correct way. Don't focus only on home run. Don't just try to aim for the top research in the world, and you're trying to aim too high. So there are a lot of small simple research that may be as important. Put the research ahead of the people. Okay, the research is more important. Sometimes you want to collaborate with someone at a very high profile, and you don't bother so much on the research itself. So it's very critical on that sense. Think innovation only happens in academia. So innovation doesn't just happen in academia. So it happens a lot. So that is why it is also critical for you to understand what is happening at the ground level. What is the challenges that is faced at the society level, and then how as academic can you solve the particular problem. Don't think scale doesn't matter. It matters. Okay, how big is this project, how small is this project, it is important as well. Open source. Okay, sometimes we always think if open source is not something that is it's not something that is highly impactful. It's not. Open source is a new way, is a new norm now. More and more people are going to open source. Why? Because the aim is we want more and more people to actually understand the work. So think the message, and doesn't, sometimes you don't think that the message is important, but it is. So all whatever that I've put here under the don'ts here, you can actually reverse it and then look at how you can actually gain from here. Okay, focus on the problem at hand, see the value in people in your network, follow innovations in the industry, what's happening in the industry, you have to understand, consider whether the scale matters depending on the funding that you have, realize open source requires effort, and spend time on the message. So all these things can actually uh, can actually makes the impact of the research so important. So in short, research impact is an important topic in the research world. So a lot of funders, institutions, and researchers themselves are all interested in assessing the quality and impact of the research. Some of the different reasons why impact can be important are the three things that you see here. First one, research funding. Governments providing public funding strive to ensure that the research of the highest quality is produced because it is the public fund. And the research can demonstrate a clear positive contribution to the society. So being able to demonstrate impact allows them to continue to justify providing the funding to research in this way. So funding becomes important in that way. So impact is important. Most funding council and bodies ask for evidence of impact in their funding application. So it's not just publication. So what other impact are you creating? Are you creating impact to the society, to the economy, to the environment, to the industry? So it's not just the academic contribution. So this is critical as far as research funding is concerned. Second is your career. Demonstrating the impact of research can help you develop your career as a researcher and scholar, whether that be increasing your academic profile or providing evidence of impact when applying for grants or positions that will allow you to take your career to the next step. So it becomes critical in your career. Some examples of impact that you might explore in terms of your communication skills you gain through presenting at conferences or running at public engagement activities, or you're involved in some project management work in the research that you're working, that will gain your experience as far as coordinating a project with a wider team, and then using quantitative and qualitative information to make evidence-based decisions. So all these examples will actually help build your career. And then the third one, research that changes the world. As a researcher, your research has the potential to positively influence the world we live in. You should aim to inspire others via your research and make a difference. But you cannot be impactful if no one knows about your research. So you cannot be doing your research in a cocoon or work in silos. So this is where the visibility of your research is important. So when you talk about visibility here, so you have published your research and you are now hoping to sit back, relax, and get ready for all those citations to roll in if that is your aim. Unfortunately, the hard work doesn't just stop by you just completing the research and publishing it. No, it continues to the next stage. Now you need to promote your research to make sure it reaches the widest possible audience. And this is part of the job of being a researcher or scholar. Not just promoting to get citation, but promoting to make sure there is impact, that someone can benefit from this work. By making your research more visible, you could potentially open up for future collaborations, jobs, publication opportunities. You can increase your citations to your work and increase the number of people finding, reading, and building on your work. So how can you make your research visible is critical for you. So how do you do that? Firstly, promote your research at conferences. So this is one avenue. Of course, in the current norm that we are in, we all seem to be attending virtual conferences, but it's still as important. Conferences are a great opportunity to promote yourself and your research. Even if you are not presenting your work, you can use the conference as an opportunity to meet other researchers and start to develop your research network. Keep an eye out for names of researchers you would like to meet and practice introducing yourself and your research. You may only have a few minutes sometimes to make sure that you are prepared. Prepare a 1-minute pitch of your best work. So it's always good to keep that in mind whenever you go to any conferences. So that's one way of basically promoting your research, especially if you have a key publication that you have released. Number two, carefully consider which journals you are going to publish in. So this is also as important when you talk about visibility. Choosing where to publish in an academic journal sometimes may create issues, especially if you are publishing in those journals that are not reputable or have a tendency to just publish for the sake of money. Are the articles in the journal easily discoverable? So that is as important. Are they indexed in services such as Scopus or Web of Science or any academic databases? Does the journal have suitable open access option? Have you and your colleagues heard of the journal in the first place? The answer of all these questions will determine how visible is your article going to be at the end of the day. So number three, sign up for the ORC ID, okay, the open researcher and contributor ID. So having an ORC ID can help to make your research more visible, because this ID is a digital identifier that will help to distinguish you from the other researchers. You can link all your research output using this ID, and you can keep it throughout your career. It's particularly useful, especially when you find researchers sometimes have some common names or who change their names throughout their careers, or sometimes you change institution, but this ID will remain with you forever. So no matter what changes, this ID can easily detect who you are, especially in terms of your research output. So please do sign up. I remember we had a session on this before, and if you want more information about how to sign up, please let us know, or you can just do a Google search. It's quite straightforward how to get an account. Next, make your research open access where possible. Okay, so open access possible publishing makes scholarly work available online, free for anyone to find and read. So this is as important. The potential readership of open access article is far greater than for articles where the full text is restricted to subscribers. So making your research open access will make it more visible. We did discuss about this in our last few sessions as well. There are two ways to make your research outputs open access, either by self-archiving in an open access repository or by publishing in an open access journal. So again, depend if you're getting a certain funding, sometimes the funder may tell you whether you are supposed to make it open access. Why? Because they want the work, the research work and the publication to be well read. Number 5, share your research data where appropriate. So there is a growing evidence that sharing data can increase the visibility of research. Sharing your data could allow other researchers to validate your work, build upon it, and could potentially also help to open up future collaboration opportunities. So it's still good for you to share as much as possible. Promote your research online. Promoting your research will certainly help you research your potential audience, connect with other researchers, and help you to start. It will help you to start developing a network of online colleagues. Okay, so especially now we are all in this online norm. So the network that we build now is going to help us to actually promote our own work. There are a number of different social medias that you can use, professional social medias that you can use, Twitters, Instagram, blogs, LinkedIn. All this can actually help you to promote your work. So whichever tool you use, it is important to identify who your audience is. Engage with them by asking questions, speaking up about issues that interest you, and use eye-catching images, video, or visualization can really help you to build the visibility that is required for your own research work. And lastly here, track when your research is being when your research is being used. So sometimes we publish, and then we say, okay, I'm getting a few citations, and then you forget about it. So it is also as important for you to keep up to date with who is discussing the work that you are doing, who is citing your work, and who is sharing your research. This is as important. You can use this type of information sometimes on CVs and when applying for funding jobs, because you know who have read your work. To check who is citing your work, you can also look at your articles on sites such as Web of Science, Scopus, or even Google Scholar, and they will tell you your articles have been cited and who have been citing your work. So if you are an early career researcher, it may be more appropriate maybe to use other apps like the Altmetrics. Altmetrics looks at who is talking and sharing your research on places such as social media and news outlets. So all this will actually help you to determine how important is the work that you are doing. So during the writing process, okay, during the writing process of your publication, there are techniques you can also use to increase your research paper's visibility once it has been published, because it's going to help to drive your research impact as well. Firstly, write a good title of your research paper. We have done a workshop on this, just to focus on the title. A good title is specific and includes keywords that readers might be searching for. So try to make it understandable to the readers from outside your field. And where possible, avoid using abbreviation, formulas, and numbers. Okay, so a good title should also be very concise, accurate, and very informative. It should tell the reader exactly what the article is about. So it should also help make your article more discoverable. So why should people read your article? It's vital to incorporate all the relevant keywords within your title, at least. This will make your article discoverable and relevant in online search. So it should include keywords, important keywords, and that will help the search engine to find your work. So select relevant keywords for your research papers. Okay, by having good keywords, it will help others find your research quickly and accurately. Just think of these keywords as labels for your article. When you submit your article, you will be asked to normally provide all these keywords. So this will be used to index your article on a lot of the search engines, such as Google Scholar. So there is research shown that a strong correlation exists between online hits and subsequent citation for journal articles. Meaning to say, if your article is not discoverable in the first place, then the probability of being cited is going to be very slim as well. So the keywords becomes important. So how you choose your keyword becomes as important. The next one, optimize your paper for search engine. Okay, so again, it's going back to your keyword. Selecting keywords is one technique for optimizing your paper for search engine. But there are other things that you can also do, like including reputable external links to build connection online. So when you have a lot of external links within your publication, that also help build the search, the way how you tag. There's a lot of meta tagging that you do within your document. Uh, the properties of the file, especially if you're sharing a PDF document, becomes important. So the more how you feel the properties within a PDF file will allow it to be discoverable as well. There's something called the search engine optimization, where where it is basically a process of attempting to improve the web page search engine ranking. So what it does is, how do you ensure that when you type a particular keyword, your article will be in the first page of the Google screen? So it is based on this ranking. It looks at how interesting, the quality, the relevance. It's a lot of external links. So all these things, there is a computation, there's an algorithm running behind the Google that push your articles to the first screen. Because sometimes your article may be in the third screen or fourth screen or 10th screen, which no one normally see, because we always have the habit of maybe the first one or two, and then we say, okay, let's find other keywords, and we move on. So your article is never discoverable. So the higher the ranking of your article, the more you can encourage people to click, discover, read, and ultimately cite your research. So the search engine optimization will help you to be more discoverable. So research impact and visibility via publication. So publication is the beginning of research impact and visibility. Thus, the dissemination of research publication have to be proactive. So you cannot just expect to get the impact without pushing for it. So millions of research papers are published yearly by different journals and indexed in databases in Scopus and the Web of Science and all the other databases. But the number of articles that is discoverable is just minimum. So research have shown there's only about 40% of the articles that have been indexed is discoverable or cited. So you're talking about 60% of the article is never read. You are the only one reading your own article. So publishing a high quality paper in scientific journal does not guarantee a high citation, but it is just a beginning of the paper journey. So similarly, the most cited work might not necessarily be the best produced by a researcher. So the rest of the paper journey is still dependent on the dissemination of the research findings. So it is still boils down to you. So researchers can promote their research work in the three stages where you are normally preparing: the manuscript preparation and submission stage, the post-publication or promoting stage, and then the third one is after you have mentioned or got yourself a few citation, the monitoring stage. So if you look at the first one here, manuscript preparation stage, this is where we talked to you about earlier, how to make sure it is optimized using search engine, using the correct keyword, having your ORC ID, the references that you use are not obsolete. There's a lot of collaboration that is seen within the research. You're working on different discipline, multidisciplinary research normally gets very high citations. So all this will actually help you to promote your publication. Secondly, post-publication promoting, when the publication comes out. So researchers, usually the tendency is for you to stop your paper journey. Okay, I've got my paper published, I'm done. Let's move on and start working on the next publication. So the journey do not stop when your paper is published. There's a lot of work that you need to do. The research life cycle does not end with your paper submission and publication. The paper journey continues by dissemination and sharing the paper to increase the readership and make it more visible, and also to make sure that there is impact. Remember what we talked to you about just now, impact, how you use social media to actually make the visibility of your research. So this becomes as important. And then the third one, the monitoring stage. Okay, researchers should monitor their publication impact and find the most effective channel for promotion. So you got to decide what sort of application that is suitable for you. Is it LinkedIn? Is it the academia? Is it ResearchGate? Is it Twitter? How do you, who are the expert in your field and where they are, in what databases? Sometimes you may have an email groups with all the experts there registered in. So maybe that may be the way as well. So you have to decide what is important for you. So there are 5 steps that you can take to improve your research visibility. Firstly, you got to do some reflection, self-assess. You are a brand, and when building your brand, there are 2 essential points to remember. You have to be authentic and you have to be consistent. You got to be stay true to your goals. So you know, as a researcher, whoever knows you or whoever you have worked with, they will know, okay, what is your expert area? And if they work with you, what can they expect? So they know when an article is coming out from you, what is the expectation? So that becomes as important when you talk about visibility. So you have to be consistent in your approach. Write your story. Step number 2 here. No one knows you better than yourself. So the challenge is to distill how you want to present yourself into short biographies. Okay, so try to write a short bio, a longer bio. Okay, short bio can be even 1 or 2 lines. A longer bio can be maybe 1 to 3 paragraph. So you need to have different version of your bio and see what you can share in different media. In step 3, take your best shot. This is also as important. You may think that this is not important. It is. If you want to build a recognizable brand, okay, especially in social media, it will help to have a recognizable image. When starting out, all you need is a good one good headshot. That's all. Whether you recruit a friend with a DSLR camera or using your smartphone, doesn't matter. But what is important is have a good shot, and you know this is the image that you're going to use uh, for a lot of your work. Okay, you can have a few sets of image, which is fine, but try to make sure that you use the correct image. Be aware what is in the background of your image. Okay, so try choosing an image with some details rather than just a plain background. Okay, don't, it's not a passport size photograph where you need to have a plain. You can have some image at the back, but be cautious what is at the back. A university campus courtyard can be interesting, or an interesting building, or something that relates to your own belief. So think about it. Step 4, build your online presence. Now that you have determined your vision of your brand, craft your bios accordingly. You have got your perfect headshot, and now you want to brand out that. So go out to brand it. There are many avenues you can choose from. Okay, it can be as simple as going to a LinkedIn account and putting it over there. Um, why LinkedIn? Because it's quite straightforward. Those of you who have a LinkedIn account, it's quite easy to do it. You can use other popular medias like Twitters and blogs, or you can even come up with your own website. Okay, so this also has become so easy to do now. So there's a lot of templates given to get your free website. And lastly, engage the media. Having an online presence is not enough. You need to be engaged as well. So there's a lot of published research out there have shown that, and people dump everything, but they don't respond at the end of the day. So a lot of articles out there, and when you write back to the author, you don't get response sometimes. So even if you look at ResearchGate, so the those of you who have a ResearchGate account, you are able to communicate with the researchers, and the more you communicate, they give you a certain points where it will increase your impact as a researcher as well. So the engagement becomes as important for you. So this is key for you to of key ways for you to promote your research. So by making your research visible and accessible to the world, you have high chances of being noticed. Your work may be referred, which will increase the impact, and ultimately it will increase your own reputation. So if you see in this screen here, there are a lot of applications out there. I'm not going to go through all. I'm sure you are aware of some of this, or you may not be aware of some of this. But when you have the chance, just do a search. It's quite straightforward. You can just put a keyword search on all the things that you see on the screen. I will make this site available for you. Try to have an account in as many of these as possible, because this will allow you to be more visible as a researcher. So take some time to create an account. Okay, of course, the most easiest one can actually be even coming up with your own online CV or website. So this is as easy to do now, because there's a lot of templates that can actually help you. So whether you're using the ORC ID or Mendeley, or using the Google Scholar and creating a Google Scholar account, ResearchGate account, Twitter account, and many others. So we have done some of these in our previous session. So just before I end, just a quick glance through on this screen here. So remember, as a researcher, you got to determine where you are in your career, whether you're a beginner or whether you are halfway through, or whether you are almost to the end of your career as an academic. Uh, the kind of collaborators you're working with, whether it's internal or external, whether when you first start, do you diversify yourself, do you specialize yourself? So how do you manage your career? So if you look here, there's a lot of research that is done on this. So I'm not going to be talking about this research, but I'm just going to show the screen to basically show some of the key things that came out from this study. So the impact of scholars' research becomes important, the visibility here. When I talk about visibility here in this particular study, they talked about the number of citations received by individual scholars or researchers to determine their impact. So there are three dimensions here that has come out strongly in the study. First one, cognitive openness. Basically, what it means is your discipline. Are you skewed towards one discipline or as many disciplines? Number two, your age. Are you at the early stage or the senior stage? That will also determine the impact. And then thirdly is the openness here. What we mean by structural openness is the kind of collaboration. Are you comfortable with external collaborators, or are you just looking at within your institution? So if you look at all this, research collaboration is key, because by working together with researchers across the globe, you're going to achieve a common goal, but you're going to ride on their expertise to produce a particular work. So the way how you work in terms of your publication, whether you're co-authoring or putting in a joint research project, joint grant submission, it becomes important for you, because it's going to create the impact and it's going to create the visibility. Then the format of collaboration, it can be within the department, it can be institutional, it can be from one university to another, it can be between younger researchers with senior researchers, or it can even be with a practitioner from the industry. So all these will actually provide the collaboration and will allow you to move within the scale that I showed you earlier. And then the collaboration can also integrate your knowledge locally, nationally, globally. And then there's another term that we always use now, glocally. Glocally means you're using the global concept, but you're acting locally. So bring the global concept in a local context. So that will help move your research further. So social media and technology has helped on research collaboration, especially if you look at the norms that we are in currently. Face-to-face physical interaction during the conferences was effective in the past before, but of course, moving on from this pandemic, the number of face-to-face interaction in a lot of these conferences is going to go down. Although yes, With the vaccine out, are we going to go back to our old way of having face-to-face event? I think things are still going to slow down after this. I think everyone have realized that they save a lot by not uh, uh, traveling to all these conferences all over the world just for a 15 or 20 minutes presentation. So all these things will actually help you to grow yourself. The key components in trying to grow your research collaboration. The career stage that I mentioned to you earlier becomes as important. Where are you in your career? Okay, so it is always critical for you as a newcomer to work with a senior researcher. Okay, don't try to stay within your silos and trying to work on a research project. It's always good to work on some seasoned researcher and then learn or being mentored by them. So late career researchers are also likely to be exposed to different knowledge domain when they start working on a lot of this project. So I have worked on a lot of research projects over the many years, but now I have diversified from where I have started, where I was so focused on my area, but now I have actually grown slightly wider. So the more senior you become, you tend to expand in a more multi or disciplinary areas. So senior scholars have the ability and legitimacy to recombine knowledge from different domains. It may be difficult if you're a new researcher where you want to stick to your area, but then as you grow, then you will see that evolving. Institutional pressure. So this is another thing that I want to put here before I end my presentation here. So there's a lot of expectation of academics, and we all are aware, we all are in the academia, in producing high impact research. I mean, you've heard of all these publish and perish, and now you see the latest term that they're using is visible or vanish. So visibility becomes important. You may be producing a high impact publication, but it is not visible, then you will still vanish. So number of citations, yes, it is still key, but it is not everything. The impact of the research becomes as important. While not all highly cited research papers produced by academics equate to their impact to the society, it is not difficult to argue that uh, uh, all research that have no value in terms of the impact becomes something that needs to be discussed further. If you see that the last point here, the KPI versus KIP. KPI here is key performance index, meaning talking about numbers, citations, high impact. KIP is the key intangible. What is the intangible impact of your work? So that has become as important. So with that, when you talk about research impact, research visibility, it goes hand in hand. If you have an impactful research and it's not visible, it is going to be as useless. But if you're visible but your research is not impactful, it can backfire as well, because you make yourself so visible that the whole world knows that you are doing a lousy job. So it it can work the other way to you as well. So you got to be very careful when you say visibility. Make sure your research is impactful and it's a good research in the first place. So I've put in a lot of references here for you to skim through when you get this slide. There are some resources that you can look through as well. And I hope this session will help you to design or work on your own research project to ensure that it's impactful. It is not just for yourself, but you want the whole world to understand your work. You want everyone to read your work, and you want someone to come back to you and say, hey, I have a problem in the society, but your research is really useful. Can you help me to solve the problem in the society based on the research that you have done? So that is becoming as important as well. So with that, I will end my presentation. If there is any question, you can raise your hand. I can unmute you, or you can also put it in the chat if you want. If you don't want to raise, okay, let me see. Is there a question there? Okay, there's a question from Christine. Two questions about ORCID. Is it better to use your institutional email or to show your affiliation or your personal email in case you change job? Does UB have an ORCID institutional account? there is the option to access this way, but UB doesn't seem to be recognized. Well, the expert in ORC ID is Miss Ballance here. So I am going to hand over to Miss Ballance to respond to that question on ORC ID.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Thank you, Christine, for your question. I think you can, first of all, UB is not an institutional member. Okay, so that's out of the question. ORCID stands for Online Researcher and Collaborator ID. And it's like a ISBN. It's a standard number for you to disambiguate you from anybody else with a similar name. So when you write an article, you include your ORCID. Many journals now require it. You can also, once you create your ORCID, I think it's a 12-digit number, and it stays with you for the whole of your career. But university does not have an institutional account, and I think you could use your university ID email, and if you change jobs, you can change the email, because it's it can change, but your 12-digit number does not change.
Yeah.
So if it's attached to an article that you've written, even if you've changed institution, the person who wants to contact you can click on the ORCID, which would be a hyperlink on the article, and find you and your current coordinates.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's actually whatever email they're using doesn't matter actually, because obviously as an academic, you will see a lot of academics move from one institution to another, but this ID will remain with you. So no worries at all. You can actually go into once you have created an account, you are able to get into their website and then make the changes in terms of your primary email and your secondary email. You can actually swap it to say, okay, I'm no more here, so this is my new email, and it works.
It's supposed to work.
Yeah. But sometimes you have issues, because I had some issues initially when I first
I remember that.
When I first came to UB. I had a problem because it suddenly created two IDs for me, my previous institution and the current institution, until I had to contact them, and then they managed to sort it out and then merge this together. Okay, any other questions? Anyone having any other challenges as far as talking about research impact and also visibility, how to create, how to be more visible in the work that you do? So remember, as I've said, publication is just one aspect of your role as an academic. So when you say visibility, the visibility is also important, not just to get your citation, but you want someone to read, and also the findings that you have come out from your research can help them to solve a particular problem. So if you see a lot of consultancy work, a lot of consultants, the tendency for consultants to use a lot of the research work. Consultancy report, a lot of the consultancy report, because it's funded, it's not publishable, but consultant picks up all these models that researchers have done, and they use it to solve and make money. So researchers don't make the money. They do the research, they are published, and they're happy about it. But what consultants do, they read all these journals and they say, oh, this finding is really good. They will use that model, and they will actually solve a particular problem that is impacting the society. So that is why a lot of academics who are good, they become consultants themselves, because they know this research work that they have done, they have spent 1 year or 2 years in the project, can actually make money. Okay, so it's not just to make money, but also to actually solve a particular challenge that the country may be facing, the society may be facing, or the industry may be facing. So you have to think through to say, okay, how can my research be impactful? So don't just do research for the sake of doing research and then you forget about it. No, work through it. So once you work on a research, let's say, okay, what can I do? How much can I come out of this research? What can I, who can actually benefit from this research? Uh, can I work on this project with another researcher and combine these two approach and generate something else? So there's a lot of things that you can actually do. So try to spend a lot of time thinking through on your work. Don't just rush, finish. Okay, my publication is out. Okay, I can forget about this publication. Let's move on to the next publication. So don't. A lot of the publication can help you. So as long as you have set your your boundary. So this is my playing field. I'm going to work on these other areas. As long as it falls within this playing field, I'm going to work on this project. Because at the same time, you don't want to be known as the jack of all trade. You do research, any research under the sun you want to do. No, that is also not good for you as a researcher. If you want to build your expertise, you need to have a certain boundary, not too rigid, but it should be within a scope that is acceptable enough. So you can venture into some new discipline, but try to remain within a boundary that people will recognize you. Because if you push yourself to be so thin because you're doing everything under the sun, at the end of the day, no one will recognize you as an expert in that field. So try to think through on what you really want to focus on, especially when you want the whole world to come back to you, or to communicate with you, or to invite you as a keynote to speak on their event. They need to recognize you as an expert first in that field. Okay, any more question? And if you are engaged in an online forum such as ResearchGate or Twitter, you need to check in to read the comments and engage. Yes, this is another challenge that I see for a lot of researchers. They they put themselves in all the social media, but then they don't even respond to people's comment. They don't engage with the researcher. They don't engage with someone who is writing to them. So it is always good to be engaged. If your aim is just to put there, I'm not going to be engaging, then it's going to defeat the purpose. So try to engage. Some people may say, hey, I like your work. Can we collaborate? Can we work on a grant? And then you don't read and you don't respond. And then you lose them. So try to be engaging. Try to read through. I'm not asking you to look at your social media every day, but you need to set your own time and look at it. Sometimes maybe it's good to even put an alert. If someone is talking about this particular paper, it gives you an alert. Then you know, oh, someone have read, someone have cited, so let me look at it. So try to work on ways that you are able to know. When I talk about the measurement just now, once you have published, you got to monitor your work. Anyone read your book? If you publish a book, how is the book doing? Who have purchased the book? Which are the universities using it? I'm interested to know. I've just published one book not too long ago, just a few months back. I'm always engaged with the publisher to find out, okay, how many books have sold? Who are those who have bought so far? I want to know. Then I want to engage with those who have bought. How have you used my work? And then they may say, oh, I've read this part of your work and I think this part is lacking. Then I know, okay, this is something that I need to focus on. Then you start growing and say, okay, let's start working on the revised version of the book. So that's how you grow on your work. But you have to keep monitoring. If you don't monitor and you forget about it and it's okay, let's work on something else, and you already have forgotten the amount of time and effort you took to produce a particular book, and then once published, you just forget about it and you say, okay, let it go. I think you have to constantly be abreast with what is happening, who is using your work, who is reading your work. There may be things that you have written at that point and you find now that, oh, I think this is wrong, what you have written. And people have debated about it, and you need to be aware. Some journals may be debating your work to say, this publication came out on this and they disagree with your approach. Why? But you are not even aware. So you got to be well connected in that sense. Okay, the time is now almost 3. We have passed the time. So as I've said, our next session, our last session for the fall semester before we go for our Christmas break, is on the 11th of December. Ms. Virginia Ballance is going to look at making sense of research metrics. So this is as important. because research metrics is also in a way going to determine, going to tell you the impact, going to tell you your visibility. So it is all related. So whatever we've been doing from the first session until now, if you notice, there's always an overlap of things that we are delivering to you. So I hope you have benefited for the session today. So if you have any question, as always, do not hesitate to write to us. We will make these slides available for you as always. And also the recording of the session will also be sent to all of you, especially for those of you who have registered. I know a lot more registered today, but not many have actually dialed in. I'm not sure why. But we will still make it available to everyone. So that's our main goal here, is people may have their own way of listening to this, because I do get a lot of comments coming after the session, and I know this participant have never came to the session, but they have gone through the session, so they find their own time to look at it. All right then, so thank you once again. So hope to see you on the 11th of December. Have a good weekend. If you have not had your Thanksgiving dinner yet, so I hope you have your Thanksgiving dinner. Have a good weekend. Stay safe, and we will see you again in the next session. Thank you.